Well, hey, good morning. Day 3, it's 10:45 a.m. and I am just now getting up and around. I had a throbbing headache last night. It was pretty miserable, and I didn't get much sleep at all. Finally, about the time it got light out, I was able to get to sleep, and I feel like my headaches, it's kind of to the back of my head now. It's a lot better than it was last night. But it reminds me of a time I went hiking on the Appalachian Trail with my brother and sister, and we were going to do about 30 miles, and the night before I woke up just with the flu bug. It was like a 24-hour deal, but it really messed me up, and I laid the entire night before we left on the bathroom floor, and I needed to be that close, and I just miserable, did not get any sleep, and I woke up in the morning. My wife and my brother, sister, they all said, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And my response to them was, I'm going to be miserable anyway. Why not be miserable doing something I love? Right? So that's my mentality. It doesn't matter where you're at. You know, if you're sick, you're going to be miserable. Why not do it something you love? So I am not tapping out after that. But lots to do today. Yesterday, I focused on this side of my shelter, and I got a little bit of this side of my shelter done. And so today, I want to focus on this and closing that in, and then also this side here. There's a little bit of a draft last night. It's not cold, so wasn't that. It just, I don't know. I feel like it's getting colder this week. Temperatures are supposed to drop, so I don't know. I know this is overkill for 4 days, but I'm having fun. Keeps me occupied. And today I'm going to do that, and then I'm going fishing. So looking forward to maybe having some sustenance. We'll see. All right, signing off. Alright, what I'm trying to do is just simply block the wind, and then I'll take some leaves and some debris and put over, so the pine needles will provide some structure, and that's pretty much all I need. And then and then throw some leaves on it, and that will be pretty windproof. Alright, it definitely got colder last night. My water froze over. I poked at it a little bit, but I've got in there the starch and parts of the rhizome from the cattail yesterday, and I'm letting the starch separate, and the starch will settle to the bottom, and the others will settle upward, and so then you can kind of pick it out, clean it out. Does not look like there's going to be much flour left, but I'll have a small little cracker anyway. And yeah, so there you have it. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. Alright, I'm heading out to the larger lake to go fishing. I've got my handy dandy fanny pack on. It's got my fishing line, some assorted hooks. We'll see if I can find something to bait the hook with. I don't know, in the wintertime it makes it pretty difficult, but we'll see if I can't find something. Alright. I love Michigan. Michigan has some of the most beautiful country that I've ever visited. Sure, there's no mountains, but you got tons and tons of shoreline, sandy beaches along the Great Lakes. Up in the Upper Peninsula, it's absolutely spectacular. It's so varied, no matter where you go, and there's always water source. So it makes it pretty nice for doing something like this. You never have to worry about finding water. Now this week, I'm not really close to a lake or a stream, so I've melting the snow, and that's sufficient. I boil it, of course, because you never know what kind of contaminants are in it from the ground and different things. But you can walk 5 minutes and the landscape completely changes. It goes from white pine to hardwood. There are acres and acres of red pine that have been planted, and they're all in rows. Across the street, we'll get to some of that, but across the street there's tons and tons of red pine. And birch is an amazing tree. You can actually eat the cambium, the inner bark layer of the birch tree, the yellow birch as well. The white birch has what's called, I don't know the official name, but it's a white birch lichen. And that is, I don't know if it's really edible, but you can brew it up like you'd brew tea. It's got nutrients in there. So, alright, well, I feel like such a complete idiot. I got about 5 minutes from my camp and realized I don't have anything to get through the ice. So I'm coming back here to grab my hatchet, and I've got to get the cover on it because I've seen a lot of accidents, people tripping and landing on their hatchet and hurting themselves with it. So, alright, I'm going to head back out in just a second. Alright, well, wouldn't you know that I cannot find a little leather cover for my axe. I've looked all over. I don't know where it would be, but I can't find it, so I'm just going to have to be extremely careful. But off we go to the lake. I've been hiking back in here. It's getting a little bit marshy, but I don't know if you can see through the clearing there. I'm about to the lake. It's called Benton Lake. I've been up in this area before, that's how I knew this was here. But I've never actually fished this lake. So, never fished it in the summer, never fished it in the winter. Never really had a need to. But I do now. Alright, well, before I venture out too far on the ice, I'm just going to do a little test hole, see how deep the ice is. That small little pond over there that I dug the cattails out of, that was a good 4 or 5 inches deep. So I'm assuming that this will be about the same. Oh yeah, I think this is quite possibly even deeper than the other pond, so I think I'm good. Probably 5-6 inches thick, plenty thick to go out and do some fishing. Alright, so I dug a decent hole. Ice is still plenty deep in this spot here. Got some 25-pound test line that I brought. It's just what I had with me at the house. So, all right. Alright, well, I've been out here about 3 hours and I need to get the blood flowing a little bit back in my body. I may come out here, grab some sticks and do some makeshift lines and just leave them overnight or something, see what happens. But I'm going to head back to camp. I've seen a ton of squirrels, so I know they're pretty quick. Unfortunately in Michigan, we're not allowed to trap, only certain things, and the restrictions are pretty strict, so I didn't bring any trapping wire. I'm going to try and make a bow, and I don't know, that's going to take some time. I need to get a fire going, boil some more water, but I like to make a bow and some arrows and give it a whirl trying to shoot at some squirrel, see if that works. Alright, but for now I'm going to hike back to camp, boil some water, warm up by the fire. Alright, here is my shelter, the walls that I built today. Yesterday, before it started raining, I did some modification to the front and got some more. I had to raise the level of the walls because the wind was just blowing the smoke right inside. It's filling up. It's like a smokehouse in there. And of course this is, I just built a little wind barrier so the wind doesn't have a direct shot in there. It'll block about 90% of the wind. If I were gonna be here for any length of time, I would spend a lot more time on this shelter. It's not going to be super windy, so there's no real need to brace the tarp any more than it already is. I would reinforce the tarp quite a bit. I'd put some brush on there as an acting insulator as well. And I'd actually build some walls instead of just using the brush here. But this is sufficient. This is actually more than adequate. I really just needed something over top, but I had some time to kill. No go on the fishing today. I wasted a lot of time. Well, I didn't waste it. I tried. Got to try whatever in a survival situation. So I don't know. I'm only out here 4 days, so I'm not super worried about it. Definitely not going to starve to death. And I did find some acorns, not enough really to do anything with, but a lot of people don't realize that acorns are edible. You just have to soak them. You got to crack them, open them, soak them, get all the tannins out. The tannins are what's acidic. It's not good for you. So, but they actually have quite a lot of protein. I'm not really I couldn't find enough to really do much. The deer have really picked over whatever is left that I've seen so far. But I'm doing all right. I'm having fun. This is a blast. Okay, so I know that you've been waiting with eager expectation for this cattail cracker. And I've been drawing it out way too long. And truth is, I'm about ready to give up on it. But I need my pan. I need my pot for water. I need to boil some water, and it's about time I do that. So, but I've been working with it. I've been pulling out the chunks. I've been sifting it a little bit as best I can, and so here's what we have left. All right there. That I need to strain it out a little bit more, and there's still going to be chunks in it. I do not know how, without different equipment, I'd be able to sift that out any more fine than it currently is. So I'm gonna get the water out of there, mold it into a little patty, and then try her out. So I know what it's gonna taste like. Of course, it's gonna taste like a cattail. All right, there's nothing else in there besides the yummy stuff from the cattail. And I'll be honest, this is way too much work for the little bit of food that I'm going to get. So I think in the future, I'm going to stick to just, unless I've got different equipment, I'm going to stick to just grabbing it out of there, throwing it over the coals, and then just sucking on it, getting the good stuff out. This is way too involved. All right, well, maybe once I get the cracker out of there and roasting on the fire, I'll let you see what it looks like. Okay, the moment we've been waiting for. Yummy, delicious cattail cracker about to go on the fire. Let's see what this thing, see if it's really worth all the headache and all the hassle. Well, the recipe calls for roast slowly over medium heat. Let's see what happens here. It is looking good. It's going to be pretty flaky. Not even sure that I can turn it without it falling apart. So it definitely needs some sort of bonding agent. Didn't see too many bird's eggs floating around, so, but not too bad. Looking forward to eating it after all this anticipation. I was not able to turn it, but I think the moment of truth is upon us. All right, I can smell it. It smells like cattail. Tastes like cattail, maybe a little sand mixed in. Yeah, pretty much just tastes like what I was eating yesterday when I just threw it on the coals. So let's try this big cracker, the one that's stuck together. Well, that's a little drier. Kind of tastes like I'm eating flour with cattail flavor. But as my saliva moistens it back up, I can taste the cattail and the swamp mud. So definitely a fail. From now on, I'm just going to throw it on the coals, suck the starch right out. It's not bad, but it's a lot of work for nothing, really. If I could sift it into flour, if I had some other ingredients to mix it with, I could see a cattail cracker tasting pretty good. But, yeah, I'm not going to be out here that long. I don't have enough time, don't have enough resources, so there she be. Don't you wish you were here? Alright, so end of day 3. Is this day 3? Yeah, Wednesday. I've done 3 different things. I've stood, I've squatted, and I've laid down. And so I made myself a nice little chair. Look at this. I can sit. I even have a footrest. Oh, now I'm living the life. Fireside seating. Absolutely beautiful. I'm loving it. Absolutely perfect. I like to just smear it on my teeth. I don't know if you can hear the coyotes or not.